Hi S1. This week we are going back and focusing on some whole numbers and numerical processes and a little bit of problem solving. Just learning, practicing and gaining confidence in these things. Looking to apply yourself in your problem solving skills and look to come up with different solutions, and then just helping build that resilience and that ability to try something again and again until we start seeing some sort of success or some sort of result that we are looking for. You'll have a couple of different tasks. Your first task is either a crossword or a code breaker, depending on the level that you want to do. So everyone should try to do the crossword first. If that doesn't work, then you need to go over to the code breaker, and that'll just be a little bit easier if people are finding this too difficult. So the idea is that you've got clues, alright? So you've got all your across clues here, and then you've got your down clues as well. Alright, so what you're going to do is you are going to do your clues. So one across, that means what we're going to do is we've got to find the number 1 in our crossword. There's number 1, and we want to go 1 across. So that means we are looking to do this sum here, and we should be finding a 3-digit number. Okay, so I need to do 4 times 33. Now you can do the sums on OneNote, or you can do them on paper and then insert your work in at the side. I'm doing it here, but you guys won't have enough room to do all of your sums in here, so you would maybe be better off going down here or going to the side to do it. But we're going to do 4 times 33. So 4 times 33, 4 times 3 is 12. It's 12 again, plus 1, 132. So the answer then is 132. That means I'm going to do 132 in like this. Now, you can go on and do 3 across, and 3 across would be this number here. Okay, or you can choose to do them in whatever order you want. It might be easier for you now to go and do 1 down the way, because 1 down the way here, you know 1 down is going to start with a 1, or you might want to do 2 down, because 2 down is going to start with a 2. Okay, it's up to you in which way you go. I'm going to go and quickly have a look at 1 down. So 1 down is 3,321. Take away my 2,278. So again, just setting up a calculation. And I'm going to work my way through that. 11 take away 7 is 4, 2 take away 2 is 0, 3 take away 2 is 1. Well, that makes sense because we thought it started with a 1. So 1,043 goes in there. Alright, and then again I can highlight that off, or I can score it off because I've done it. And then just work your way. Maybe you want to go and do 8 across next because it starts with a 4. So there's number 8 across, 2005 divided by 5. Okay, and you're just filling that in until you get all your calculations done and dusted. If you're finding that some of this is too difficult, maybe you've tried to do as many as you can, but you haven't quite completed it, then over here we've got an addition and subtraction code breaker. So we fill in the gaps by working out the sums below, and then we replace the numbers with the letters above in the gaps underneath. And that's going to reveal a gold medal winning British Olympian. So pretty much similar process. So if we look at A, okay, we're going to look at A here. We're going to do 55 plus 28. We're going to set it up. 8 plus 5 is 13. 5 plus 2 plus 1 is 83. So A is 83. So that means I need to find the number 83. Right, 83 is here, which is A. Okay, and it tells us that question A is here. Okay, so that means I need to write that letter A here. Okay, so the letter A here. Then B, you would do the same with B. You would get the number, and then it tells you that you're putting that letter that matches that number here. Okay, so it would go in this spot here, and so on and so forth. Right, so you need to really pay attention to what the question is. So C is here. And then once you know what the number is, you would match it to the numbers up here in this code. So you're either doing one or the other. Then we've got a couple of problem solving tasks that you need to work your way through. You've got to try and do as much as you can, right? Some of you might manage it all. Some of you might only manage 1 or 2 bits of it. Some of you might get halfway through. I just want you to give it a bash, and I want you to do as much as you possibly can, okay? So the first task is some number sequences. So you've got to try and guess the next number in each sequence using the simplest mathematical operations or ideas that you can find. You might get slightly different answers to what I've got, but that's only for 1 or 2. Most of them will be the same. So the idea is you want to try and see if you can spot a pattern between these numbers. If you look at these first ones, you'll notice that they all have the same digits involved. Okay, so are the digits moving? What's going on? You need to think about that. The other things you want to think about is, okay, how much have you added on between each of them? Okay, what's happening every time? Are you adding something on? Alright, so in this space I've got a gap of 3, and then 4 to 9 is 5, and then 9 to 18 is 9, and then 18 to 35 is 17. Okay, wanting to do the same thing with all these numbers. Okay, are they being times by anything? What if you times it by 2? What if you times it by 3? What if you divide it? What's going on? You want to try and spot whatever's happening. So it's good to try and write down ideas of what's going on. Okay, so like this one here, I'm adding 4, then I'm taking away 2. Then I'm adding 4, and then, oh look, I take away 2. So there's quite an obvious pattern going on here, which means you might be able to figure out the next number here, right? Some of them are a bit more obvious than others. Some of them you do have to think about a little bit more, but you just want to try and find as many as you can. So that's that task. And then the last task that I've got for you is known as 4 fours, right? Now the idea is you need to use exactly 4 fours, not any more, not any less, to form every integer number from 0 to 30. And you can use the operations plus, minus, times, divide. You can put brackets, you can put a decimal point in, you can square numbers, and you can square root them if you know what to do with them. If you don't know what to do with them, then don't worry about it. So the idea is, right, I can make the number 0 by doing 44 take away 44. That gives me 0. So this example here works. I've got 4 fours involved because I've got 1, I've got 2 in 44 and 2 in 44 there. So that's 4 involved altogether. Sometimes there's more than one solution. So for example, 0, I can also make it by doing 4 plus 4 gives me 8. Take away 4 gives me 4. Take away another 4 gives me that 0. Alright. So sometimes there's more than one way to do it. You don't have to do it in like order. You don't then need to move on to try and find 1 and then try and find 2. The best way to do it is just play around with them and then make up the numbers that you can. So for example, 16 is quite easy to find because I've got 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. 1, I could do 4 times 4 to get 16. That's why it's in brackets, because I want to do that first. And I also want to do it again so that I do 16 divided by 16 because that gives me 1. Right? Every single one of those cases, I have used 4 fours. Okay, you have to use them all. 4 take away 4 isn't acceptable because you've only used 2 of them. right? So I'm looking for you to do something similar and make as many numbers as you can from 0 to 30, right? And then just write or type them below as much as you need. So you can just sit and play around with it. For example, if I do, I'm going to do 4 times 4, because that gives me 16. Then, do you know what? I'm going to add another 4, because that gives me 20. And then I'm going to add another 4. Right, I've figured out now how to find 24. Right, so you just want to try and do as many as you can. You could add 4 and then take away 4, and then you can figure out different ways to do it. Try to do as many as you can, right? So it's a little bit of problem solving, a little bit of working with your numeracy skills and working with operations and just getting that sort of practice in. You'll still have your quiz on Wednesday, alright? It will be on numeracy, so it'll just be lots of different things, practice, that you've been working on over the past couple of weeks. Okay, if you get stuck, remember you can come into the lesson to ask for help if you're not sure what to do, and you need to make use of your tutorial times. Okay, your tutorial is on Wednesday. I'm always there for an hour. You may as well come and ask me questions if you are stuck.